Now it's time to take a look at what's got social networks, blogs and the online press talking. It's International Media Watch with Shona Bhattacharya. Nice to see you, Shona.
Hi, Becky.
So we're talking first of all about international presidents who are obsessed with Twitter.
Right. Earlier I spoke about how some French politicians are having a hard time finding that right balance on Twitter. Now, international leaders are having a similar issue. This Nouvelle Obs article talks about presidents, especially in Latin America, who are especially active on Twitter. In some cases, politicians have staff to tweet for them, but Argentine President Cristina Fernandez does her own tweeting when she announced that she had cancer on the popular social network. Hugo Chavez of Venezuela immediately put his own tweet out there. He offered his support as well as the support of the Venezuelan population. The article goes as far as to say that Chavez is addicted to Twitter. But other heads of state are just as guilty of mouthing off in 140 characters or less. Queen Rania, the Queen of Jordan, tweets both in English and in Arabic. She launched a Twitter topic called 2011 Remind Me for people to count their blessings. And Queen Rania...
She says she's a wife and mother with a really interesting day job as well.
Yeah, that's her little subtitle. She promised to retweet people who picked up on the topic, and she does, as you see. We have Sarah Sheikh saying 2011 Remind Me that all we want is love, honesty, forgiveness, and respect. Sometimes, however, this direct form of communication can lead to virtual clashes. We have a British journalist who tweeted a quote from Rwandan President Paul Kagame saying, no one had the right to criticize him.
It's an instantaneous way of answering back, isn't it?
It is, and in fact, that's exactly what Paul Kagame did. So when he said no one in media, the British journalist, UN or human rights groups has the moral right to criticize me, Paul Kagame fired back and said, not you either, no moral right.
That told him, didn't it?
Yeah, well, as we know, the internet has ushered in a whole new way of communicating and a new meaning to free speech.
I'll be interested to see what else Chavez has to say. I think I'm going to start following him. Right, our next story adds a twist to this week's Iowa caucus. A miscount, perhaps.
Yes, exactly. It seems that Republican hopeful Rick Santorum may actually have won the caucus. As you know, the Christian conservative from Pennsylvania lost to Mitt Romney by 8 votes. Well, now an Iowa caucus counter, Edward True, says in one county the official results gave Mitt Romney 22 votes, but in fact he only counted 2. Now, True, his name is Edward True, thinks that it might have been a typo, but still that would have meant that Santorum won again just by a hair. Now Santorum was asked...
He doesn't really care though, does he?
No, he doesn't, because he says that it's no big deal. In any case, he performed very well in the Iowa caucus, and there are actually other accounts of vote mistakes. This Atlantic Wire article says Santorum claims party officials told him he actually got 21 more votes. Again, Santorum would have won anyway. Now, on Twitter, there are mixed reactions to the whole thing. This user says that he's glad that Santorum made it because it would have kept Santorum from dropping out and ending all of his unintentional comedy.
So the Iowa surprise, Santorum is calling it. Our next story is keeping Britain on its toes. What's that about?
Well, on January 1st, a dead body was found on the Queen's grounds in Sandringham. And for now, inspectors don't know who the young woman is. All they know is that she was probably between the ages of 15 and 23 and that she was murdered, that it was not an accidental death. Now, investigators are still looking again, as I said, but on Twitter, users are turning the murder mystery into a rather unfunny joke.
This is serious stuff to be laughing about, isn't it?
It is. Oops, I'm sorry. That is not the one that I wanted. In any case, on Twitter we have someone saying that the body was found on the Queen's estate. Who's pissed her off this time? And another one asked, "Where's Fergie?" For Sarah Ferguson,
the public eye at the
favorite enemy of the royal family. So maybe it was her, but that's
hopefully the Queen's not been reading those tweets. Not sure she'd find it funny. We just have time very briefly for our last story, the web's reaction to Kodak's impending bankruptcy.
Right, Kodak is actually responsible for bringing photography to the masses, and now it has to close its doors, and a lot of people are really upset about this news. This user on Twitter says it's not the best Kodak moment.
Which of course their catchphrase.
Exactly. Sad to see the film die, and this other Twitter user just simply says, you know, thanks for the memories, Kodak.
It's had a big role to play in all of our lives and all of our photo albums, hasn't it?
Yes.
Many thanks to the International Media Watch, Shona Bhattacharya.
Thanks, Becky.
Stay with us here on Live from Paris. We'll have the headlines and a whole lot more just after this short break.
Is the Fifth Republic turning into France Inc.? In the next Beyond Business, we look at how the French state is cashing in on its properties and even Sorbonne University. How far should governments go to make a buck?
Don't miss Beyond Business, Saturday 10:15 a.m. Paris time on France 24.